This year's open house is an invitation to see how the dogs progress from being brand new puppies to dogs who will soon be placed with a client. We don't always have this wide range of ages for an open house, so we thought we'd take advantage of the nice age spread we currently have. You've heard people say, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. Well, that's how our puppies learn. We break behaviors down into their smallest components, reward these incremental steps, and then gradually raise criteria until the dog has learned what we want. We mark the correct behavior with a clicker, and that tells the puppy that what they did at the exact moment they heard the click was correct. A click is always followed with a treat. Labrador retrievers love to eat, so it's very easy to get lots of repetitions in, which is one of the keys to progress. You will see a recent puppy class where May, Champ, and Zach are working with their puppy raisers. They're about 12 weeks old in this video. We use the paw pad, which is the red block you see on the floor, to teach the pups where they're supposed to be. It's the happy zone where all the treats appear, and it lays the foundation for loose leash walking, where we also expect the pups to be in this same position. The raisers are working on being able to step away while the puppy remains on the pad. This is an early lesson in impulse control, where the pup learns to stay on the pad for longer and longer increments. It's not just the puppies who are learning. New raisers have to put a lot together when learning to work with their youngsters. Treat delivery is harder than it looks, and clicking at the right time is also not easy. Doing them at the same time and managing the leash takes lots of practice. We like to say that training is first and foremost a mechanical skill for the raisers, not the puppy. So the paw pad training teaches our new raisers quite a bit about the location of treat delivery, how to best deliver the treat, as well as the timing of the click. Also note how we're using a wall to help the puppy be in the correct position. Over time, of course, we move away from the wall, but it's a big aid when starting out. Touch is one of our foundation cues. It's useful all by itself to move the dog anywhere within our reach. To use it, we teach the dog to put his nose on the back of our hand. We start by showing the puppy our hand in a way that makes it seem new and interesting, so the puppy is inclined to investigate it. Puppies investigate with their noses, so they touch it readily. When they do, they get a click and treat. Pretty soon, the deliberate appearance of the back of the hand tells the puppy to do the behavior. Puppies learn when a hand is just by our side versus when it's giving a cue. When puppies get older, we use the touch cue to teach the dogs to close an open drawer or door, to perform an alert, and more. You'll see Madeline use it for the dog she's training for autism work later in the video. Your mat is the first shaping exercise that new puppy trainers and new puppies learn. A shaping exercise is one where the criteria of what gets a click and treat changes as the puppy understands what is expected. It's a very sophisticated technique, and as puppies learn how to be shaped, their brains really develop so that they learn how to learn. This becomes super important when they start their advanced work. Your mat lays the foundation as the pup's first shaping exercise. It's also a big learning curve for the puppy raisers. Becoming good at shaping is both an art and a skill. It requires observation of behavior, knowing when an individual dog is frustrated, and understanding when it's the right time to raise criteria. Here, you also see Merce demonstrating one of the most important skills of a great trainer: patience. Merce is very calm and waits for little Zach to process and figure things out for himself instead of helping him too much. The goal of this behavior is to be able to send the dog to the mat from a short distance where the dog will lay down and remain until released. Here, the first step is teaching the puppy that going to and being on the mat is the right behavior. A treat is tossed to get the puppy off the mat so he can learn to get back on it. Cash and Holly are older puppies and further along in their training. They're currently about 5 months old, but here we see a video of Madeline working with Cash when he was younger. He's getting an early lesson in body handling as well as the cue called chin. It's important that dogs become comfortable with being handled all over. They'll visit the vet and should be comfortable there. As working dogs, they'll be out and about in many environments, and body handling is one aspect of learning not to be overly worried when things like clothes hanging on a rack or curious people touch the dog. You can see the chin cue being introduced here, and you'll see it again later on when I'm working on the retrieve. Here's Holly on a class out in public. Look how nicely she knows the right position to be in, and how her raiser Beth delivers the treat to the correct place to keep Holly's great position. It's the puppy paw pad training in motion. The retrieve is essential to service dog work, and we teach it with great care. Here I am working with 3 different dogs who are at different stages of learning their retrieve. The subsequent videos are narrated by the trainer who's working with each dog. You'll see many of the early cues being used in more complex behaviors. This is the other, it's a piece of, piece of PVC you saw me working on with Toby, or you will if you haven't. And it goes in and it comes out. So I can click those just for opening his mouth, but I'm going to use the hand under the chin. And you can see how when you switch to a different object, dogs don't generalize. So he's like, oh, you mean I have to do it with this thing too? So that wasn't the best click because he wasn't chomping on it. No click. Let's see if you can figure it out. No click. Good. So he started thinking, what do I need to do to get the click? And he made a decision on stillness. Whether that was conscious or not, I don't know, but that's by discriminatory clicking, that's how we can get the behaviors that we want. Mike, Dan? Michael is not the most confident dog, so I can't not click him too many times, or he'll be like crestfallen and he won't want to play anymore. Try again. Good. I shouldn't have clicked that, it was a little too bobbly. Beautiful. So the next thing for me with him is going to be to take my hand away. So I'm going to lower my criteria. He's keeping it in his mouth even if he's chomping it ever so slightly, but he's not spitting it out. So I have to decide if I want to take that. What I think I'm going to do is instead of putting my whole hand under his chin, I'm going to put like 2 fingers and see if I can get the same level of stillness. Then I can fade to 1 finger, then I can gradually draw my hand away and see if I can continue to get the same behavior. So 2 fingers work. It says 2-finger Mike. Get it? Lovely, absolutely lovely. See if we can go to 1 finger. Get it? 1 finger, Mike. He's a good boy. Yes, it is. Beautiful. No fingers. So he's learning very, very quickly. He may not remember this tomorrow. We may have to go back and review it all. I'm going to go back to a couple fingers because I don't want him to fail. And I'm not in a hurry, okay? I don't want to rush him through this process. I want just to create a solid dog. Okay. So I've been working with Toby on his retrieve, and he has a nice hold. Shake. Shake. Oops. One of the things that I'm working on, he has the lovely hold, I'm trying to work on shake and. So to get duration on the hold, I want him to shake and sit, or hold and sit, hold and shake, hold and walk. So we're working on getting some duration and multitasking, if you will. And this has been really challenging for him, but we're getting there very slowly. So you just saw him not do it twice and then like really have to think hard and do it. We'll see if he can do that one more time. Get it? Shake. Yeah, good boy. A very good boy. And so he's also learning some patience because he's holding, he's delaying getting his treat, and he's just getting more duration for the behavior. So then we've moved to a few other things, so a few other hold ands. Tobe, come here. Tobe, sit. Get it? Hold. Tobe it down. So that was hold and down. Tobe, get it? Tobe, sit. Good. Good boy. Did you get that, sweetie? Come here. Good boy, Toby. Get it? Hold. Sit. Give. I think he wants to triple task there and give me a shake. So we've been working a little bit on hold and walk, and this has been really hard for him for some reason, but we'll see what we can get. Get it? So come. Good. So we've got like 2 steps, and then he's like, oh, I can't do it anymore. He has to spit it out. Come here. Come here, Toes. Get it? And part of it, he's responding to the gesture, which he shouldn't be doing, but he is. He should know better because he doesn't drop it here when I gesture. So I will try myself to not do that when I'm asking him to walk. Get it? Toe come. Give. So that was better. That was 3 steps. And you can see where me as a trainer corrected my own behavior, catching what was causing him to drop the item. Come here, Tubbs. You can just see him. He needs to take a lap or 2 around me. He just has a lot of energy. To some degree, that is his way of, I gotta take a little break before I have to work again. And I let him do that because he needs to do it. Get it? Come on. Good. So that was 3 steps. Again, I didn't move my arms, so that helped him out a lot. All right, let's see if we can add a little more. Toe. Get it? Sit. Good boy. So now he just walked a couple steps and sat. So we're really building both duration and his ability to multitask, which is wonderful. Stand. Can you stand? Good. Nope. Get it? Hold. Sit. Down. And that was too much. So he walked a couple steps, he sat, but he couldn't walk a couple steps, sit and down. So we're making progress, but it's very incremental. And that's how dog training is. So there's also getting it from the ground, which is it's just different. Get it? And I'm also trying to point to the object so that he gets the object that I point to. So we can see if he can do that or not. Took him a long time to be able to pick it up from the ground versus me handing it to him. Wait. So we have to have two objects on the ground. Let's see if he can pick the one I want. Whoops. Yeah, and I knew that's the one he was going to go for. Come here, Toby. So now I'm doing it. Come here. So I didn't reward him for any of those. Wait. All right, this time I'm going to put... Wait. Put this one a little closer to him. Since we have a strong reward history with this, it's the one he's going to go for the most. Let's see if I can get him to get the one I point to. Toad, get it? Whoops, can you get it? Look close. Come here. Give. Okay. You know, again, work in progress. He was getting the correct object, but he wasn't holding it for the whole duration. So Franny's at a stage in her retrieve, down, where she is picking up a greater diversity of objects, and every time, at some point in the dog's training, when you introduce new objects, they act like they've never retrieved anything in their life, and it's brand new, and they have to learn, oh yeah, I can pick this up too. So we've been working on these objects for a couple of days, so I think she can do all of these. Let's find out, let's ask her, and then I'll show you what else we're working on. So let's see. So this is just a water bottle. Franny, get it? Okay, so she can get that. Keys that have a little dangliness to them. Get it? Good. Everybody hates this. It's like an iced teaspoon or something. They all hate it. Get it? Good girl. Pens and pencils are, for some reason, difficult. Whoop. So she's crunching that a little more than I like. Let's try again. Beautiful. This might be hard on this floor. Let's find out. It's in theory a credit card, but it happens to be a room key. So I love her persistence. As I thought that, oh, Fran, that was beautiful. That was so good. I actually think if they pick it up with their tongue, it might stick, but she figured out how to get it, and that's what counts. This is another thing that they tend to not like at all, are things in plastic bags and things that dangle. Good girl. And water bottles are just so much fun to crunch, so let's see what happens. Wow. All right, Fran, you're just doing a beautiful job. All right, so she did all those things I didn't know if she would or not. Wait. Down, please. Franny, down. Good girl. So now the next thing we're working on is pointing to get things, so that if, let's say you were in a wheelchair and you wanted the dog to get a specific thing, you could say, get that. We're not working on elevations yet, that'll come next, but I'm just trying to direct her to things that are on the floor. They tend to have their favorites, and that's what they're going to try to pick up rather than pay attention to the point. So let's see what happens. Have so much room here. Nope, down. Wait. And to some degree, because there isn't a lot of space here, she could easily mix up my point. I mean, she is a dog, right? So let's just see if we can get her. Oh gosh. Come here. Down. Wait. So it is important that the dog just doesn't do whatever they feel like doing in this situation. We want her to be paying attention to what we want. So the hardest thing here is going to be to get her to move in the opposite direction. Clearly she wants to go this way, you can see that. I'm going to see if I can get her to get the pen, which is on the opposite area. Franny? Franny? Get it. That was fabulous. Let's go the other way. Franny, get it? Fran? Nope. Get it? That's exactly what I wanted. Beautiful. Alright, let's try for the water bottle. Franny, get it? Lovely. What a good girl you are. Let's try for the keys. Franny, get it? Give. Good girl. Here, we'll try for the iced teaspoon. Fran, get it? Oh. That was an easy miss as far as I'm concerned. It's in the general direction and there's only two things left. Franny, watch me. Get it. Good girl. I am really pleased with her. That was an excellent job.
So Maggie and I have been working on a small little obstacle course, putting some of her foundation skills together and working on patience and confidence building. So we have a platform, we have some fit bones, we have a target, and we'll see what Maggie gives us today. Let's go ahead. Maggie, sit. Good girl. Stand. Good job. Maggie, step. Good job. Maggie, step. Good job. Back. Good girl. Maggie, step. Good girl. Step. Wait. Maggie, touch. Good girl.
So with our dogs that are going to be on the autism track, we want to teach some cues that have to do with providing deep pressure, or for children it might be a little bit of lighter pressure, but something that will kind of be comforting presence. Sometimes that weight can really help calm people and bring them comfort, help them relax. So I'm going to show you how I taught Baldwin to do some of those cues. So we're going to start with a cue called hug. And in that, I'm going to be sitting, and this is one of our deeper pressure options where the dog will lay most of their body weight across your legs, and she's going to do it all on her own. Good girl, yes. So when we're first teaching this, we're going to use a touch cue, and that's where we teach the dog to put their nose on the back of our hand. So I might ask her to stand. Baldwin, stand. Try again. Release. Stand. Good. And then I might do a touch. Baldwin, touch. Good. And I might click that. And when I click, I'm going to give her a treat. And maybe we try going this way. Touch. Good. And then she's learned to lay down after that. So we start getting the pressure. So here you see she's a little bit sideways. She's closer to my knees and ankles, where I want her to be up here, closer to my thighs. So I'm going to have her get up. Baldwin, release. Good girl. And try again. So as we build this, we start to add the hug cue. So at this point, I can tell her, hug. Baldwin, hug. And then she does it. And see, this position is much nicer. I can pet her. I could kind of give her a hug of my own if I wanted. Good girl. Very good girl. And it's just a really nice weight. Okay, so now you've seen how I've worked with Baldwin to train her to have a foundation of these cues, and now we're going to bring in a volunteer who's going to demonstrate how Baldwin is working on using these cues on someone else, like she would when she's actually placed with a child with autism. that pretty soft? Release. Good girl. So another thing we teach our autism dogs to do is to go bump someone with their nose. So it's a pretty gentle tap, just kind of could be on your arm, could be on your leg, depending on where the person's standing or sitting. And that can be used to get a child's attention. So if they're stressed about something or having a hard time, the handler, who's often a parent, could cue the dog to go bump the child and get their attention so that then they focus on the dog, maybe pet the dog, and are not worrying about whatever challenge they were having previously. So to work on that, we use targets to start. So we start by teaching the dog to put their nose on the target. So that kind of plays off of the touch cue where we use the back of our hand, but we transfer that over to this new target. So then we would have Baldwin touch, good girl. And so that's kind of a very brief nose on the target. Once we want to start to build that to a little bit of a firmer bump that would get someone's attention, that's when we start to change that cue. So I'll move the target to my body and I'll tell her bump. Baldwin bump, good girl. And I'm clicking when her nose makes contact with that target. Good girl. Okay, release, get her to move away, and then bump, good girl. So you probably can't see it, but she's hitting it a little bit harder than she was when I just held it in my hand. And now she's offering it on her own. Because after we use the target, we start to fade it to a smaller and smaller target until we can do it without anything. So I'll use the target one more time, get her warmed up, and then see if she can do it without the target. Bump, good girl. So now I'll see without. Baldwin bump, good girl. Very good girl. So now she's learned she doesn't need the target, just the word means put her nose and kind of gently push on someone. So I've practiced on myself. The next step would be to practice on somebody else so that the handler could send her to go bump someone else. Go bump. Good girl. Good job. Wanna try again? You ready, Baldwin? Baldwin, sit. Wait. Wait. Go bump. Yep. Good girl. That's fun. All right, now let's see if she can do it without the target. Baldwin, here. Okay, sit. Sit. Good. Baldwin, go bump.
In this video, Lincoln will be demonstrating some of the physical assistance cues which we teach our dogs. So here I cue Lincoln to tug, and he opens the door. Then I ask him to get water. He will bring it to my lap, and when I'm ready, he will give it to me. So Lincoln will be retrieving a remote control. The cue is get it, and then he will bring it to my lap and hold it until I say give. And then I will give him a treat, and I'm going to toss another item for him to get, which is a phone. And we don't want the dogs to mouth these objects very much, so we like a clean retrieve where he brings it right to my lap and I get my hand on it, and then he will release it. And the last object is a set of keys. And dogs don't really like the metal, but we work on having them pick up all kinds of objects. In this video, Lincoln is demonstrating how to remove a sock, and the cue is to get it and tug. Lincoln is demonstrating how to open the door. He will target the object on the door handle and he will tug it, and we need him to hold the door until the wheelchair gets positioned, and then he will release the tug and come to get his treat, and then we want him to go through the door.
Nani is our mama dog working with Linda. Nani had 7 puppies in her first litter. A few of the dogs you've seen, Toby, Michael, and Maggie, are from that litter. 2 of the little pups you saw at the beginning, Champ and Zach, are from her second litter. Here Nani is just 12 weeks post-whelp and is getting back in shape. Linda had done some work with Nani on the balance bones when she was pregnant to help her with her core muscles, and now we're trying to restore her core after she had a C-section. These are some basic exercises of sit, down, and bow, but doing them on the wobbly balance bones make them harder for the dog and help engage her core muscles. You can see that Nani is delighted to be back in training. Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed spending a little time watching training. I think you can also see why it takes 2 years to train a service dog. After the dogs learn a skill in the training room, we work on them in public settings so that the dog can perform the skill anywhere a client may need it. Training each dog is a process that happens incrementally, and as we learn the strengths of each dog, we're able to figure out who they will be matched with and what job they are most suited for. Thanks for watching.
Sit. Oh, she said I haven't practiced that.
Oh, that's up.
Come on, Mike, down. Now, Michael is not the most confident. Who's training over here? Mike.
Tug. Good job. Get water. Cut.
And you just cue go bump, and she would go put her nose on a person. Good girl. I know, I confused you there.
Wait. Oh, you're there. Okay.